So, so we're going to deal with now. Here's a big question, as far as the night goes. Right? It doesn't look like Morin's moving, and Lee is not interested in doing any guard duty. So, how do you guys want to break up the night? How do you want to um, deal with that?
I think probably regular. You know, did we bring Jackie? I don't know if we asked or not.
Yeah, we're gonna assume Jackie's with you, but
We could just
Jackie would.
set Jackie on sensor duty.
That's true. You could. You could very much so. And she's programmed to give some sort of alarm. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's perfect. So everyone's able to get a fine night's sleep. Now, what I would really love, I would like and Patrick, Tom, and Al. Roll me a d20, and I have to roll two d20s.
I got the lucky number.
Yeah. 13? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, all right. Interesting. All right. So at around 2 o'clock in the morning, you're not too sure, but you are awoken by a high volume shriek. It sounds female, and it is somewhat familiar to you, but it is so loud and so piercing and so violent, it wakes you all up. It's enough to wake you up. Jackie is nowhere to be seen. However, as your eyes start to focus, you do notice one other strange sight. You notice that Morin is no longer sitting cross legged at the edge of the cliff. She is very intently looking down. She's crouched over at a very odd angle, as if her hips, like from her torso to her hips, are out in a 90-degree angle compared to her legs. And she's just staring down at Lee. And as Lee starts to wake up from the shriek, which seems to be coming down from the southeast, he looks up and then he sees Morin just stooping over him, and he gives a yell of surprise. He goes, "Ah, shit! What the hell are you doing?" he says, and then Morin just kind of stands up, and then just very silently, carefully goes back to the cliff and sits cross-legged. So, like I said, the shriek was coming from the southeast.
I would. My first thing would be. Well, question, real quick: is everyone sleeping near us? Is Nora still off by herself?
Nora,
Hmm?
are you
She, yeah,
sleeping with the group, or will you be
no,
off by yourself?
she's by the rock still.
My first thing would
She's
be.
by the rocks.
My
Yeah.
first thing would be Mila,
Ow!
and I start dashing over with my rifle. I guess. I am assuming. I think we may have covered this, and I just forgot because I took the power armor. I didn't actually take body armor, so I'm not in body armor at the moment.
You
Okay.
have,
Did.
but you do have your normal armor inside the pack of my.
ATV,
Okay,
but you
got
would
it.
not have time to don it
Right,
unless
but I
you
don't
say
have it
you
right now.
don't.
I'm just
You can't
gonna
take it.
grab the rifle and run towards where Mila is.
Okay. You run off.
From
Oh, yeah,
Al's
sure.
yelling, he's gonna get up and follow, but not immediately because he's not that attentive as him.
I should
Okay.
also ask. Everyone else was around, right? Like Tom, you weren't sleeping off by yourself. Nora
Oh,
was the only one away, right?
I would be sleeping right underneath this tree along with Patrick.
Okay,
Okay.
so if you guys are in vision, because my thinking is I'm making sure everyone's okay. If you guys were in my vision, then I can know you're okay. But Mila's kind of off.
Great.
So
Tom, what are you doing?
I'm still trying to wake up.
Oh,
It takes
okay,
a
so
while
you're
to
just
wake
dropping.
up.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, that's good character. So it would be Al and Soon. Uh,
Give me a good solid minute to
Yeah.
to adorn just a weapon. I think he would still be, just because he's freaking like paranoid for his life at the moment in such a not good situation. He would probably be sleeping in that freaking armor.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Tom
Alright.
would take another 2 minutes after Patrick goes.
Okay, so Al's the first one to round around the corner. You round around where the rock is, and you see Mila.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Mila's actually like kind of hiding behind the rock and like pointing at the weapons that are lying on the ground and like looking at Al, and she just goes, Al, look!
Just-
She looks terrified.
Okay, she looks terrified. Mila, get behind me. Get behind me. Come on. Like, and he'll hold out his hand to kind of.
She will latch onto it.
All right, and then with he will kind of let the rifles fall on its sling, and then pick up the weapons and kind of put them away, and then start leading Mila very quickly back towards everyone else,
Al,
but
Al,
keeping his eye on the south.
Al, can we go to my pack and get my flashlight, please?
Yes, of course.
I think it was a ghost, Al. I think a ghost was trying to shoot me. I must have fallen asleep.
It's okay.
It
It's
took
okay.
my
No,
weapon.
Mila,
It's a
Mila.
ghost. What?
And I'll stop and like hold Mila's shoulders. They were mine. I left them. I'm sorry.
Oh, Al. Oh, woo!
I didn't mean to
Wow.
scare you like that. But let's go find your pack.
Okay.
And then, where is your pack? Is it back where you were? Or...
It's by her power armor, or her Power
Okay.
Ranger armor that she took off.
So we'll head back there, and actually, yeah, and then get her a flashlight,
Okay.
Okay.
And she'll flip it on and go, ooh.
and then try and lead back towards everyone else. I'm sure we all heard that, right?
Lee nods and says, "Yeah, is everything okay?"
Yeah, no, it's a false alarm. I got a little spooked, but Al just left his weapons out. He does that all the time. Actually, he doesn't. Al, why did you do that?
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I forgive you.
A groggy Patrick will go, yeah, why did you do that?
Al, from behind Mila, Al will just roll his eyes. Which, by the way, what am I holding on to right now? I should probably mark that down. A revolver.
Mila?
Oh, it is, a revolver and a laser rifle.
Got it.
All right.
Mila's gonna
Well-
start flashing her flashlight at Lee, being like, who's that?
What do you mean? Just me, he says, as he brings his hand up to Char.
She's gonna
to,
start flashing. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, he's just bringing his hand up to shield his eyes from the flashlight beaming into his
She's
face.
gonna flash a light at
Ah.
Warren.
Al,
Who's
Al,
that?
Al will put a hand on Mila's shoulder and say, "That's Lee and Morin. You remember they came with us."
Oh, that's right. Hi.
At this point, Lee looks over to Patrick and gives a "now you know what I'm fucking talking about" type of look to him. Like a, what the fuck is the matter with your friends? Like he's wide-eyed, just shaking his head. And he's like, "Wake me up when something serious happens." And he rolls back over.
Ditto.
Mila's gonna just lay on her back and just like put the flashlight in the air and go make lightsaber sound effects as she moves it around.
God. I should have never showed you that movie.
You did this.
I know. It's my own fault. I'm sorry. So, okay. Anything else we want to go over, or should we just wind down the night?
I think that Al's gonna be too wound up to go back to sleep, so
Fair
he's probably
enough.
just gonna keep watch.
All right. Fair enough.
Mila will then occasionally put the flashlight to your eye. By the way, Mila's not falling asleep for the rest of the night, so she will just put the flashlight directly on you from time to time, being like, "I stabbed you with my lightsaber."
And I'll just go, "Ow."
She'll just giggle every time. She'll find it funny each and every time.
God, keep it down. All right. So the rest of the morning, passes uneventfully. Nothing else emerges from the rift. There's no rippling down the ley lines. There's no storms. And most importantly, there are no beasties that come and check you out. So, in the morning, as everyone gets everything together, Lee asks the group at an opportune time when most of you are collected, and he says, "So, do we have a consensus? What are we going to do next? Do we hike it or do we try the ley line again?"
I
It is
say
Thursday morning, by the way, and I'll just give you a friendly reminder of a certain note that you left on the message board
Yes.
Yeah.
in New Laszlo. It's going to be this evening that night is. So,
Oh wow.
yeah. I
Patrick
want...
is actually gonna go for the ley line and trust Morin that it will be that she'll guide us home.
Al is going to go for the ley line for many reasons. The note on the board, the apprehension of what will happen if Nora and me have to travel together for a week. I think the ley line's the best option at the moment.
fair enough.
But beforehand, Al
I love
will
being crazy.
sigh and then get back into the power armor.
Mila
Okay.
will jump in it eagerly, like woohoo!
Yeah, I'll most likely park up my vehicle and actually get out. Because I don't think it could go through another battle.
Good call. Tom, your input on the situation, and Mila. I guess Mila's super excited, so she's good with whatever plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot. Tom, squeeze into my body armor.
Huh? He doesn't need to squeeze. He's shorter than you.
My point is your body armor's wrecked, man.
Yeah, it is.
Use mine.
Oh, he can have
Is
mine.
it the same kind?
It is, yeah, it's Gladiator. It's just not
But
all
it's not
fancy black
black.
like yours. Oh.
All right.
Though I will say
Okay.
it looks better now.
I'll start taking off my body armor, and because he sleeps with it on
Okay.
outside.
So, sleeping with the body armor on, the first couple hours in the morning, you are stiffer than most because
Yeah.
it is not the most comfortable thing in the world.
That's also why he's pretty groggy all the time.
Hmm.
I really, really, really want to try the ley line one more time, but if that shit happens again, we need to just go hoof it. Because I'm not interested in trying again after that.
Well, hopefully the
I'm
second
sorry.
one, even if it isn't where we're going, will be a bit kinder to us.
Yeah, but if
Lee looks
if
over
the
to
second
Patrick
one-
and go ahead.
if the second one isn't the place where we need to go, what's the guarantee that the third one or the fourth one or the fifth one will be New Laszlo?
Lee
It'd
points
be
to Tom
much
and says,
faster, easier to just hoof it.
Lee points to Tom and says, "Now you're catching on, kid." And besides, Patrick, the likelihood of something pleasant or wonderful or horrible or nightmarish, you might as well just flip a coin and hope it says heads.
I love flipping coins.
That's great.
Patrick actually looks sort of like a he like starts kind of going off into his own mind and sort of like looking into the distance, almost like blank faced, and then kind of going like, you know what? Even if we don't go back, at least we will get to see a lot of new places. Well, I'm not quite sure if you will. I'm not. How many places have you gone to?
You're asking Lee?
Yeah.
Last count, 143. But I haven't been doing that for the past few years. Last time was the excursion with her. He points over to Warren. Besides, let's just hope we don't get sucked into the vacuum of space and be afloat for years and years, desperately trying to find oxygen, generating enough, and keeping your very will to survive as you float around nothingness. Let's hope that doesn't happen, he says. As he goes over to Morin, and he says, he kind of raises his hands to be like, it doesn't matter, you don't have to be nice to her, you don't have to be kind to her, You just got to be clear to her. And he looks over to Morin, and he puts his hands on her shoulders, and he turns her towards him, and he looks her in the eyes, and he says, Morin, we need to go back to the same place we left yesterday. Do you remember that? And she nods a little bit. And he says, okay, not the fireplace, no Zytikiks, no voices, none of that shit. Okay, Morin? Back to New Laszlo. The nexus point, 50 miles away from New Laszlo. Do you got it? And once again, she gives a little nod. And he turns away and he says, are you guys ready to go?
I think
let-
kind of in passive aggressive defiance, Al would from Power Suit say, Morin.
She doesn't turn to look at you, but
I would just say, thank you.
oh yeah. And Lee kind of just gives a bit of a snort and just a shrug. Okay, Morin. And then he kind of picks up on your sarcasm, and he gets on a knee and he goes, oh, lovely, radiant Morin, please use your magic in such a beautiful way and whisk us off back to New Laszlo. You may begin whenever you wish. He
Patrick
stands up.
will find
See?
that charming.
Oh, I'm sure.
Mila's gonna go up to Morin and hold her hand and be like, I know it's scary. I'll be right here.
Al's gonna look at that and say to Tom, but so that Lee can hear him, see, first he picks up the sex organs, now he's proposing to people.
Lee's kind of derisive smile turns into a more genuine one at that point. And you grab Morin's hand, but you know how normally when people hold hands, they actually contribute.
Yeah.
She does not contribute. You're just holding a loose hand, pretty much.
Yeah, Mila
And
doesn't
she-
notice.
Oh yeah. Okay. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And Morin, she raises her hands, and Mila's along with it. Ooh, although, here's the question: do you raise your hands with her? Because you have power armor on, and you are stronger than Morin.
Oh.
So if you don't want her
No,
to raise her hand, she won't.
She won't. I won't stop her. I won't. Mila won't get in her way, but she'll be like, okay, I'll let go now.
Okay. So her hands raise, and once again, light flows from the palms. Now also coating Mila's hand as well, oddly enough. And the ripples along the ley lines begin. And sure enough, a small rift starts to open up. And it's very, very small to begin with, only about a foot large in diameter. And it starts to slowly grow, and as it grows, you can see a shifting landscape, a landscape of volcanoes, a landscape of billowy yellow clouds, a landscape of ice, a landscape of pure darkness. As it grows and grows, but finally the ripples start to solidify upon a landscape that, mercifully, you recognize as at least somewhat normal. A landscape of grass, green grass, and leaves that are starting to change shape. Local leaves of like maple and carnivorous trees, along with a few pine trees as well. And actually, those of you with, I'll say, land navigation, give me a skill check, please.
I know it.
Do I have that?
Right. I think you do.
I do. I can contribute if I go to the right window. And
Okay, let me just see what y'all got. Okay, Patrick and Tom, you succeeded. Yeah, because it's 60. I mean, I don't think you succeeded.
no,
But
no.
Patrick-
Mila's like, yeah.
Nope. I'm looking at another thing. Ooh, a squirrel. Anyway,
Oh, Jackie.
Jackie. So Patrick and Tom, you do recognize, although it's backwards, the reflection seems to be backwards. This looks pretty close to where you guys entered from 50 miles east of New Laszlo. This looks about right. You're not 100% sure, but it looks a hell of a lot better than yesterday.
Patrick and ever trusting, and thinking that he's right in the assumption that this is the place that we want to go to, will go into his vehicle, start her up, and probably start moving towards the portal.
Okay. Lee will also enter. Pam enters. Tom?
I'm slowly making my way to my bike because I was
Oh,
still
yeah.
putting on my other power armor.
Okay. Your other power armor. You mean your other body armor?
Yeah, that thing.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna slowly start going towards the portal.
Okay. All right, Al.
Al's gonna be the last one through.
Unfortunately, you've noticed the procedure that Morin tends
Right.
to be the last one through.
I mean, the last, with the exception, I guess, of her.
Well, here's the other thing. Mila has her hands next to Morin, so
Hi.
Mila.
Very well, I'll go through.
All right. And with that, you guys enter the other side. Mercifully, nothing attacks you the second you leave. Everything looks relatively peaceful. You do hear the sounds of a few vehicles way off in the distance with your enhanced hearing. But for those of you who have it. And eventually, Morin steps through hand in hand, non-consensually hand in hand with Mila.
Yay.
Lee scratches his. Well, I guess he can. He's in his body armor. He just simply looks around and kind of pats the back of his helmet and says, I didn't feel anything shift when we went through. At the very least, we're still on Earth.
All right,
that's
which way
good.
to New Laszlo? Let's see, this was mostly east, so I guess we need to go
Land
west.
navigation again. Just do land navigation again, and we can determine whether you're back on track.
I'm 77. It's
Okay.
17 off.
Okay. Anyone else
rest of
want to
us?
do Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yay.
Oh, good. So Patrick is a little turned around, unfortunately, but thankfully to Tom's assistance and Mila's enthusiasm in jumping in what she feels to be the right way, uh, you do most certainly get back on track, and it only takes about 5 minutes for you to realize that, yes, you are only 50 miles away from New Laszlo, and you made it back relatively safe and sound after what happened yesterday. So we won't go through the entire trip itself, although there is a small scene that does come up because this road is relatively active compared to many of the other roads that you have traveled on. You do come across a recon patrol, or more of a scouting perimeter patrol of the New Laszlo military, and they're black and greens. And they stop you for a moment, and they recognize, of course, the black and greens of Morin. And they ask if, let's see here. It's less of an asking and more of a firm request that you return to New Laszlo immediately. The lady that you talked with, Shauna Jade, the pretty much the second in command of the military, while the main head is still recovering. She has put out a request for any patrols that when they locate Morin to bring her back immediately, and they are going to fulfill that request. And you guys are fine with that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. fair
At one
enough.
point during the adventure, Al would ask Lee, now that the fun stuff is over, on a scale of 1 to 10, How would you rate the in your adventures the Zytic experience? Worst thing you've ever faced to least worst.
Worst to least worst. So 1 being least worst, 10
Right.
being myself.
Yes.
A 2.
I think Al would be quiet. Like, would not respond.
And he's not fucking around with you. He says that almost kind of gravely. And as soon as he says that, a 2, he says, "Damn it. Of course I have to get stuck with a group that doesn't drink. God, I could use one." He whispers underneath his voice, underneath his breath.
I believe, and I will say this, you were offered a recipe by Patrick. We'll make
Yeah.
sure you get it.
Okay. It's hard to get bombed off a recipe, but thanks for the reminder.
I can't shrug in Power Armor.
You can, but it's a big ass mechanical shrug. It moved the body of an exoskeleton, so it moved. Yeah, so it's like. Okay. Anyway, so I'm assuming you're just going along with the scout, the perimeter military as well, back to New Laswell. You.
I would
I
say
heard a
at
breath
some point.
speaking.
I was gonna say if they're up for talking, I'd probably try and get more information on what's going on and that kind of thing.
Well, what kind of information what kind of questions do you want to ask?
I guess I would just come alongside him while we're traveling, and I'd be like, "So, do you have any information on why Morn may be needed? Is there something wrong?"
The head of this particular perimeter search, a woman who has charms about her. She looks middle-aged or so. She says clearly and succinctly, "You were expected back yesterday, and we were worried that you've gone AWOL. We've radioed in and let you know that we've located you. Sean is just very concerned about Morin is all."
I understand. Apologies for being late.
Well, better than not showing up at all. Besides, it's not me that you have to worry about. Prepare for an ass chewing, she says.